One of my favorite saints, father of the church, Saint Jerome, September 30th. This is the fun fact. We know he was not the most likable person on earth, right? He had an anger, he had temper, he had, sometimes he would be just, I would say impossible is an exaggeration, but and he went into the desert. And I always imagined to myself, he went into the desert because nobody wanted him around. But actually, right? He went into the desert in part because he had a lifetime struggle with the temptation to lust. So strong that the only way in part he could harness it, conquer it, right, is to go into the desert where there weren't people, there wasn't the stimulation, there weren't the temptations. Do you know what I mean? It's fascinating. And then, of course, he went into the desert and he occupied his time studying scripture, studying Hebrew, right? So even a man who is now among the saints, who devoted his life to sacred scripture, had a lifetime temptation that he struggled with, which gives me consolation, right?
Right. And he went to extreme or somewhat extreme measures to make sure, and how hard do we fight against our temptations?
Correct. So now, and he was practical. So lust can be stimulated from the things around you. You don't have custody of the eyes. So he went to the extreme to get rid of all that possibility. Right? And then in his mind, you could, from memory, could keep going on. And then he occupied himself with the study of sacred scripture, of which we will benefit. So he was very practical. So I guess the question is, anybody listening, ourselves included, anybody listening who's struggling with the temptation, whatever it may be, let's learn from St. Jerome. And not just simply pray that it go away for grace, but how practically, what are we doing practically to take the teeth out of the temptation?
Right. Get up and do something about it.
So for another exactly. So I struggle with gluttony, for argument's sake, right? And okay, so then what am I practically doing? So if I go to the store and buy Oreos, which we all know everybody in the universe loves, right? And therefore you're creating this temptation in your own house. How are you possibly going to conquer gluttony? Say, well, I can overcome it. It's there so that I could grow stronger spiritually. Yeah, I suppose. But Jerome would say, don't buy them.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So I love the practicality of St. Jerome, which I did not realize.
Yeah. That's a good lesson.
One last one.
Let's do it.
I preached at the seminary, St. Therese of Lisieux. Okay. St. Therese, when she was 22 years old, she wrote a play. I did not know this. The play was Jesus at Bethany. And in the play, this 2 years before she died, she put these words into the mouth of Mary Magdalene. I know my heart is too weak to be an apostle. Therefore, sweet Jesus, lend me your heart. Now, fascinating for two reasons. One, Mary Magdalene was the only one who stayed in the empty tomb, and she's called the Apostle of the Apostles. And therefore, according to the insight of St. Therese, how was she able to do that? Well, it wasn't the natural human love that you would have for someone else. It was that Mary Magdalene, being freed from the 7 demons, made her heart and Jesus' heart one. So she became an instrument of the love of Christ that allowed her to persevere until Christ revealed himself. And therefore, for you and I, we are all weak, right? And therefore, Therese is reminding us, as she had to struggle to say, my vocation is love, but not her love. It's Christ's love through her. The same for you and I. The marrying of my heart with Jesus' heart is the challenge St. Therese is offering us. And Mary Magdalene lived. And so the question is, practically, how do we do that? And that maybe for another podcast, we could explore that.
Yeah.
But once again, it's very practical. These saints are very practical.
Yes.
Mhm.
One of the things that strikes me about Saint Therese is, I believe, after she died, one of the other sisters was supposed to write a short biography about her, and said, "I don't know what to write because she didn't really do anything."
Could you imagine?
But because what Therese did was hidden and interior,
Without a
and
doubt.
yeah, I mean, so
Without a doubt. Right. Because in the end, let's end with this. In the end, who is the protagonist of all grace? Who is the protagonist of all goodness, of all truth, of all beauty? What appears, Therese can teach us clearly that her human agency, which seemed meager, gave birth to extraordinary divine agency through her, which has been fruitful beyond the imagination of that sister,
yes, yep,
right?
yep.
I wonder what she's thinking now.
Oops.
Exactly.
Yeah.